You call for help. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Do I know you? Yeah. Murphy Lee, ladies and gentlemen, in the house.
Coming up tonight, build a robot on the cheap from junk around your home. Or just buy a kit and put together a robot following written instructions. And we take our favorite robots through history. This is really weird. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screen Savers!
Hello, and welcome to the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Kevin Rose. Thanks for joining us here for Robot Week on the Screensavers. Today is the last day of Robot Week. We have a great show planned for you.
That's right. Today, well, it's all about building robots, whether it's from spare parts or from some of the kits we built.
And Dan's been working on his robot.
I finished my robot. I don't know about you guys. I finished mine. I'm very proud.
Oh, excuse me. I had a little cough there.
I did. It's done. But anyways, give us a call. The phone number is 888-989-7879, and email us at thescreensavers@techtv.com. We're giving away T-shirts and netcams. Netcams for people who don't have netcams, and we're giving away T-shirts for the people who do have netcams. So give us a call or email us. Back to you guys.
Or say you don't have a netcam, get an extra netcam and a T-shirt. That works out too.
It's all on eBay.
Really complicated.
It is a little
Free
complicated.
stuff. Screensavers.
Free
Keep
stuff.
coming back.
Let's start off with the tech news that caught our eye today. Sarah, what's the first story?
No, it's not.
This is still weird.
She's lost her voice.
I was like, I'm a robot. That's really weird. Okay, Sun and Microsoft have reached a settlement in their long-running antitrust battle. The short story is Sun's receiving nearly $2 billion. And on the technical end of the settlement, the companies will have access to each other's server technology, enabling their products, of course, to work more easily together. But the two companies still plan to compete bitterly against one another. How are what's changing here exactly?
Well, here's the deal. A lot of people don't remember this because
Right.
it happened so long ago. Sun Microsystems came out with a programming language called Java.
Write once, use it many places.
Yeah.
So you can write one program, it would be usable across any given operating
Great
system
for
on the
programmers. Great for programmers. So they write an instant messaging client. They can use it on Apple, on Windows. But Microsoft said, wait a second. If some cool applications, if everybody joins this Java movement,
We can't control it.
we can't control it.
We can't manipulate it.
Exactly. So they released their own version of Java, and then they released some Java development tools,
Right.
Visual J++ from Microsoft, and they took out some of Java's code and made their own proprietary code.
Enter a lawsuit.
Yes, and at that point, everything got crazy because there was a branded pure Java from Sun. Certain applications were, dubbed pure, and then some would work with certain virtual machines, others wouldn't work, and
Lawsuits were won, lawsuits were lost,
Yes.
and eventually when you would click on something and it would require Java inside of Internet Explorer or anything else in Windows, it would go, here's our Java virtual machine. You can't download that anymore, and you'd have to figure out for your own self to go to sun.com or sun.java.com to download the Java you needed to run the applications, which you should have been able to run anyway, but Microsoft, and I'm assigning blame here because I'm an evil co-host and I can do that Microsoft made it more difficult for you to get access to. The point, one, the lawsuits are over. Two, what's really fascinating, right, because Sun basically controls, if it's not running on Linux, there's probably, web servers are probably running on a Sun product. Yes, there are Windows servers out there that are serving the Internet.
Like 10.
It's highly unusual,
Right.
yeah. Well, 12, I think. 30, at least. But the truth is, it's like laying down their sticks and working together.
That's
it's just
great.
bizarre.
I'm stoked because it's a win for consumers more than anybody. Because no longer is there going to be the confusion. You go to one source for your Java, all your applications will work the way you want them to.
Good for
I'm excited.
consumers. Nice big check for Sun. Apparently Sun's laying off a bunch of people, which is kind of depressing.
But $2 billion.
It's a big
A
payoff.
lot of money.
Speaking of layoffs, Gateway announced that they will be closing all of their retail stores starting next week. Now, as you might remember, the company recently acquired E-Machines. After the closing of the stores, the company is set to lay off around 2,500 employees.
Ow.
Ouch.
This was interesting because there was a Gateway store that opened up when I was living in Las Vegas. And I went down there to check it out, and it was about a month after it opened, and there was hardly anybody in there. And I'm like, are people really coming to this Gateway store? Are they just still buying their PCs online or at the CompUSAs of the world?
On the flip side is like, it was a really interesting idea that, okay, we're a company, you're going to spend probably, you know, after you buy your house and your car, you're going to spend more money for one of our toys than anything else, right? So they're like, we'll put the stores in, we'll make it available, you can touch them, you can feel them. It's basically what Apple's doing with the Apple stores.
But Apple's more specialized, though. Gateway is just any other x86 processing machine out there. There's so many computers out there.
They worked for them for like 6
That's
years.
true.
Gateway's got a lot of other problems. Maybe this is the way they're going to, you know, just stand on some of the financial bleeding and try to recover.
Yeah, I also went to the store that we have up here that's local, and there was still nobody in that store, and I knew it was coming.
Is there anyone in the Apple store right now?
That's a good question. Maybe that's what's coming up for Apple.
If you're watching us in an Apple store, please tell us if anyone's there.
Thanks, Sarah, for the stories.
Good stuff.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Speaking of Happy Fridays, John joins us on the phone from Crystal, Minnesota.
Crystal.
Hey,
John.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Great. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
We're wondering if it's Crystal or Cristal. Or Crystal.
It's Crystal. Okay. Crystal is like the hip way to say it.
Good to know.
What can we help you out with?
Well, I have a question about PCI sound cards versus USB sound cards.
Okay.
All right. I was wondering if there's any advantage besides being portable of a USB sound card over an internal sound card because maybe a higher pipe for better sound and stuff.
Well, the portable thing, for anybody who doesn't know, like normally you've got a PCI, either on your motherboard or on a PCI slot inside of your system is basically the hardware that turns little tiny zeros and ones into the audio that you can play over your speakers, right? That's what your sound card does. What the external ones, the USB ones you were talking about, was basically portability. That isn't really an advantage. If it's portable, people can steal it, right? So that wasn't really the idea of making them portable. What boxes? I actually own a stereo link. Actually, I see in the distance one of Creative's. Boy, this thing has sharp edges. One of Creative's Audigy 2s. The idea, right, is inside for audio purity. Why don't you come off that screen? There we go. Pull back for a second so I can point to this for a second. For audio purity. Pull back for a second. There's
Patrick.
So inside of a computer, right, is a horrible place for audio because basically all of the components inside of that are exposed to all the RF energy that's coming off the processor, the graphics processor, the motherboard. So the idea is to take all of the components and put them in an external box.
Okay.
What does that allow you to do? You've got more space actually to add external connectors, whether you're talking about digital audio or analog audio. You can do what Audigy's done, or the Creative done with the Audigy, and you can put all kinds of controls on it that are easier to use. But mostly you get these highly sensitive chips outside of the box and in an external environment.
I was going to say, one of the common calls that we get into the screensavers is that they have a sound card that's internal, and they hear all this buzzing and hissing.
Right.
And that's because it's interfering with other components inside the machine.
Exactly. It's usually a sign that you either have a low-cost sound card or something else has gone horribly wrong inside your box. The $64,000 question. Kevin, have you ever heard the difference, other than something like that, have you ever heard a difference between any sound card?
I'm really not the guy to ask because I go with all internal sound cards. I never upgrade my sound card. If it comes on the motherboard and, you know, it's compatible, Sound Blaster compatible like they all are nowadays, it's like, what do I even care as long as it works with my games and plays my MP3s?
Right.
I don't need any type of high-end special FireWire and these crazy outs that I have no idea what to do with them.
So are you kind of catching up here, John? Like basically, if you're going to hear a difference, great. The chances are, or if you need the ports it's got, great. But the chances are, if you're not a particularly critical listener, if you think AM radio is spiffy, you're not going to need to deal with it.
Yoshi's in the background going like, no, because he's a huge audiophile, so he wants the high-end stuff.
Well, sure, I own I own a ridiculous amount of stereo equipment because that's where I listen to it.
Right.
John, they're external because they're trying to make better audio to your ears. And whether or not you can hear that is up to you.
Thanks for the call, John.
Good one, man. We're just getting started to find out who our favorite robots through history are, at least in the movies. And after the break, anybody can build a robot. We've got some tips to help you build one from scratch using stuff you'll find in your basement, your closets, the junkyards. It's so cool, and it's coming up from the Screensavers. Continue. Fancy building your own robot out of spare parts? Well, guess what? Scooter down here on the floor was built out of stuff you can find around the house, at least if your mom doesn't catch you breaking apart the vacuum cleaner. Our next guest teaches folks how to do just that in Big Sky, Montana. We're actually in Big Sky Country, Montana. Robotics instructor Gordon Sheldon teaches people with no tech skills how to build robots. And best of all, it's all about recycling and scrounging the parts for free. Gordon, you want to grab Scooter and join us back up here? This is very cool. You actually teach a robotics class at Flathead Community College. Is it Kalispell?
Yes.
I always get in trouble with names in Montana. Probably because it's the first place I wore a kilt. It was a very bad place to go into a bar there. This is cool. Scooter's actually entirely built out of parts that you've recycled out of other machines.
Yes, junk parts that we've collected from the scrapyard and Salvation Army and various other places. And of course you can see batteries, wheels, motors. Here we have some motors that came from some old copiers, match set of motors, wheels from the Salvation Army. Everything that we build the robots out of comes from scrap.
Where did you come up with the idea to teach a class in building robots like this?
Well, I've been building robots for about 20 years, and I just thought there must be other people out there that want to build robots out of junk parts like I do, so I decided to find out, and I asked the college, and they said, sure. They set me up with a beginning class, and then I set up an advanced class. So I teach both the beginning and advanced, and that gets them through the platform and the remote control wired. The advanced class gets them into the computer-controlled interfacing.
Wow. So basically, class one, you tell them you're going to build a robot. It's got to be able to move, and you're going to use some kind of remote control for it.
Right. Wired remote control. And the only requirements in the class is when you're done, it has to move on the floor under its own power with the remote control. And of course, for the final, you have to name it. And after 8 weeks, they're pretty careful what they name it.
There's probably a lot of four-letter words in some of those names too, I bet. At least when they're at home.
When they start, yeah.
This is awesome. So we have some pictures, right? People have built some wildly different stuff. Here's a whole class. There's a half dozen of the robots right there.
Yes.
What do people use for inspiration? Do they basically start grabbing stuff out of the apartment? Do they go where the parts come from?
The first assignment is to take the cardboard box home and start talking to their relatives, their neighbors, and going to the junk stores, collecting VCRs, copiers, and all kinds of different junk parts.
Class one, you basically hand them a cardboard box and say you're going to come back with parts in it?
They have to get their own cardboard box, but yeah, basically. And off they go, and some people come up with 5, 6 boxes before we're done. But that's just more parts for the next robot that they're going to build.
That's awesome. Where do you recommend, we've talked about some parts here, where do you find most of your parts coming from?
Various sources, VCRs, copiers, computers, just all different kinds of sources, scrap yards, lots of stuff from the scrap yards. So people are very willing to give that stuff away. It's going to go to the dump anyway, and they just want to find a place, a home for it. So they'll give it to anybody.
If you know somebody with a copier shop, it's a great place to get motors out with that.
Yeah.
Is the interface to the joystick, is that the hardest part for people to build? Or?
Actually, the hardest part is to determine the RPM of the motors and the wheel size, and then the mathematics to figure out what ratios of gears and pulleys they need to actually move the bot at the right speed.
Okay.
The electrical aspect is not real complex and only takes a couple of classes to get through and get done. The interface, of course, for the advanced course, that's a little harder to deal with, and it takes the whole 6 weeks to get that and the programming under control.
Where did the interface actually, so you actually have them build, is that the actual interface control right down there?
This is the little board right here. And I just have them, like this old modem has a couple relays on it, so we take old electronic boards, get the parts off of there, put them on a little vector board from Radio Shack, and of course plug it into the parallel port. Then it teaches them to write. We use GW Basic on the older machines.
So they actually write the program that causes the robot to move forward, to turn right, to turn left, or to turn left and to turn right.
And they start out with the keyboard first, but then they start interfacing joysticks to that machine so they can run it with a joystick from the machine. And that's just one step away from making it wireless.
Very cool.
And hopefully a third class to make it wireless.
Do you have a lot of people signing up for it? Is it popular? Or?
Yes. I actually have a waiting list in the beginning class and a full class for the advanced class. So we have a lot of people in the classes.
One last question before we go. What's the most surprising thing? Has anybody built something like, Volkswagen bug-sized? Or?
Well, actually, the one robot that you showed was a vacuum cleaner robot that a lady built. And it was built out of one of those small little tow-around vacuum cleaners. Had leads on it, and teach them to put some leads and stuff on it. And that has got to be the cutest. And the cutest thing about it is she has a little rope and it's the auto override in case it stops working. She can tow it.
Yank it home manually.
Yeah, I'll take it back home so you fix it.
I like it. Actually, what's going on with this little guy right here?
Well, this little one here doesn't require any batteries at all. I built this for a secretary of the place that I worked at, and it's built out of VCR parts, motors and wheels and belts, an old cage out of a monitor, piece of phone cord, and a stepper motor from a laser printer. And you can wrap your finger around it and it gets some buttons out of a dot matrix printer. It's got a crank on it, and when you crank it,
it powers the motors on there.
Yes, it actually powers the motors, and he'll go forward.
If he can get traction on a tabletop.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
So you can build all kinds of different robots out of just junk.
No kits, no Legos.
Yeah, just junk. So.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Ladies and gentlemen, for tips on scrounging parts in building your first robot, check out Gordon's write-up. It's at thescreensavers.com. And you know what? He's also happy to answer your questions by email, and you'll find all his info and a whole lot more at thescreensavers.com. Ladies and gentlemen, still to come, I'll take you back to the desert for the finale of the DARPA Grand Challenge. We're going to show you how the race went off. What's up? Coming up next, Robbie, Maximilian, Vicky from Small Wonder. We've picked our favorite robots through history. It's all coming when the Screensavers continue.
I'm curious. IBM is doing the HR services for P&G. So IBM isn't an HR company. So?
Get a clue.
Come again?
Sell things you didn't used to sell, buy things you didn't used to buy. Knowledge, expertise, unexpected partnerships proliferate. Behold, the expert economy.
I don't understand.
Focus on your core business. Let someone else do the rest.
What's going on here?
Complete the trilogy Tuesday on DVD. Go beyond the final explosive chapter with hours of revolutionary special features. The Matrix Revolutions. Complete the trilogy on DVD.
Gamefly. Rent the games you want, play as long as you want, for one flat rate. No due dates, no late fees. Go to Gamefly.com for your free trial.
The Punisher, the album. 19 new songs featuring the return of Drowning Pool. Plus, more new music from Nickelback, Trapped, Puddle of Mud, Queens of the Stone Age, Chevelle, and Cedar featuring Amy Lee. The Punisher, the album. Get the CD. Order now.
Saber 1-5, this is Bobcat 36 from weapons in enemy camp. Orders to aircraft as follows. Grid, Echo, Hotel. Over. Overwatch, Overwatch. This is O2 in position. Over.
Welcome back to the Screensavers. Today is the last day of Robot Week, so here at the Screensavers, we thought it only fitting to go back in robot history and pick our, our favorites.
Right. So whether you're a fan of the obscure like Cherry 2000 or Huey, Dewey, and Louie, or a fan of the more famous like C-3PO and R2-D2, we have a great selection of them here.
So let's get started with yours. Okay. What are your top 3 robot picks?
Number 1 is Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still, that big silver robot right there. And in fact, George Lucas got a lot of his creature names from this: Barada, Nikto, and Klaatu. The next robot that I picked was Ed 209.
Oh, I loved Ed 209.
That's right.
This is the guy that freaked out and killed everybody.
Yeah, he did. He freaked out and killed everybody, so I figured if anybody's bothering me, maybe he'll freak out and kill them.
That's cool.
Also, and then lastly, of course, I picked C-3PO and R2-D2. So I think that rounds out mine. Patrick's however,
picks.
That's right. He picked Roy Batty from Blade Runner, who technically may not be a droid, but he's an android of sorts, a replicant, so Patrick was allowed to pick him. His second, he picked C-3PO and R2-D2.
No, I picked R2-D2
Oh, only R2-D2. C-3PO is not cool enough.
Yeah, he's got something against C-3PO for some reason.
Who knows why? Patrick doesn't like shiny things. And then lastly, you picked Twiki from Buck Rogers. Patrick, could you have picked a more girly robot than you?
He's a girly
Clockwork
man.
Smurf.
Well, we're not even going to get into the whole Aaron Gray aspect of it, but most importantly, Twiki's just bizarre. It's great.
He is a little freakish, isn't he?
He is a little freakish.
Not as freakish as like Haley Joel Osment and AI, but close.
That's true.
At least Twiki blinks.
Patrick's a little strange.
Patrick is. Kevin, what did you pick?
Yes, my picks were Tom Servo and Crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Great. Yes.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
And then Data from Star Trek.
Star Trek.
It's
Trek. There's probably Star Trek fans that are going to beat you up in the audience.
Dude, like a Star Trek fan can beat me up. Like if they have fake little lasers, you know. I don't know.
Be nice.
Bender from Futurama. Look at him.
Bender.
Yeah.
He is the spitting image of you in that picture.
Yes, he's a pimp in that picture.
You after hours.
That's right. I love Bender. Look at him. There's Sarah in the background there.
Little bling on his fingers over there.
That's right. Now, Sarah's favorites.
Okay.
She had C-3PO and R2-D2. That was also Tom Servo and Crow from Mystery Science 3000, just like me.
Coincidence.
And her absolute favorite, Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Okay, you know what? This is a farce. Why are you doing this to my brother? I hate Johnny Five from Short Circuit. I have been haunted by him since I was in 5th grade.
He's so lovable, though. Look at Johnny Five.
No, I didn't like him at all. That Ali Sheedy, the whole movie stunk. I'm sorry, Johnny Five. I'm not a fan. But, you know, I really, out of those robots, R2-D2 is really my favorite. Children of the 70s will remember Underoos. Remember they were like underwear and the T-shirt that went under clothes. And I had R2-D2 Underoos that my mom had to, like, make me wash once in a while.
Ooh, nice.
And he's short.
You could sell those on eBay for a ton of money right now.
They've been framed.
For our Robots Through History rankings and the list of, I don't know, 50 or 60 that we actually picked from, you can check them out on our website and let us know what your favorites are at thescreensavers.com.
Yeah, they can get DVDs of all these and everything. Pretty cool stuff.
Sarah, what is your quick tip?
My quick tip. If you're going to buy online, you better get the best deal, right? But even the savviest shoppers like you and me might not know all the latest tricks. So check out Scott Wayner of ResellerRating.com's article in today's show notes at thescreensavers.com. We've got tips for faster and easier comparison shopping and how to learn to shop at multiple stores simultaneously. Good stuff. Everybody needs $1 or $2. Now don't go anywhere. We've all been working very hard to finish our robot kits. See who finished theirs flawlessly and who gets the dunce cap. But up next, bots crashing and burning at the DARPA challenge. I smell a Patrick smile when the Screensavers continue.
Welcome back to Robot Week on the Screensavers. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Coming up in this half hour, well, we got 5 robot kits that are fun for the whole family to build, at least for the ones that can solder. And Leo's going to join us for 2 great tips in one. And it's bigger, always better. Find out more when our next caller asks us a very special question.
That's right.
Scary. This is our final look at the DARPA Grand Challenge. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with DARPA, that's a Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the DoD's research branch, if you will. The Grand Challenge is a 140-mile off-road race they set up to jumpstart innovation in autonomous vehicles. Robots that basically drive vehicles 140 miles off-road from point A to point B.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, well, you know what? It really wasn't, because they had a control vehicle behind each one that basically could kill the power and shut it down if they thought anything was going wrong. And it turns out they didn't have to worry too much. Anyhow, the whole point is by 2015, the Department of Defense is supposed to have a third of its vehicles be self-controlled, self-driven. And nobody went the full distance to win the $1 million prize, but there's still plenty of positives to take away from this event, because at least they made it kind of far. You'll watch it. It's the big day of the Grand Challenge, the field test. 3:30 a.m. and 15 DARPA Grand Challenge teams wait with bated breath for the GPS coordinates that mark the 140-mile course. Good luck. 2,500 waypoints. Wow. The excitement is infectious. Well, at least if you can stay awake. It's race day here at DARPA's Grand Challenge. And what's that mean? Early morning. The racers got their coordinates at 4 a.m. It's right around 6 a.m. and we expect the first robot to come out the gate behind us in just a couple of minutes. To win the $1 million prize, a bot has to get from Barstow, California to Primm, Nevada, all in under 10 hours. The fastest bot? Well, that wins the prize. The question is, though, will any of the entries finish at all? Here it is. I'm going to make my predictions for the race. Now, Carnegie Mellon, team number 22 over there, probably favored, followed by Caltech, team 05. Both strong possible finishers. But you know what? I'm saying the guys from Velodyne and the little green Toyota truck, I think they might just take it.
The green flag waves. The strobe light is on. The command from the tower is to move. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandstorm. Booyah! See you, Bob. Agent Bob.
Hey, they drive worse than that in Los Angeles.
Things look pretty positive at the starting line. Hey, all the robots made it out of the gate, right? Until... Apparently, vehicle number 23 is trying to acquire the first GPS waypoint because it's now reverse direction 180 degrees and is headed back towards the starting line. Either that or it's scared and it wants to go home. Team Red's Sandstorm had the race lead and was making good time until a hairpin turn at mile 7.4 left two wheels hanging off the trail. With no way to lock the hubs, the wheels spun loose on rock until the tires actually caught on fire. Team Red was officially out at that point. By the way, right now, we got over 6 vehicles dropped out already, 4 of them within pretty much the first 100 yards of the race. But you know what? One of my early predictions, the Velodyne crew, Digital Auto Drive, still going as far as we know. They may just finish it. Meanwhile, at the finish line at Primm, Nevada, anxious spectators monitored the race in real time and watched as each vehicle dropped out of the field test over 130 miles away. Team Ghost Rider officially pulled out of the race, but our friend Anthony wanted to give the audience a quick wireless demo. Unfortunately, things didn't go too well. Ghost Rider didn't get real far out of the gate, but it's a spirited effort. I don't know what to say. It turns out that Ghost Rider's main system hadn't quite booted properly. While other teams were starting to drop out, the Gollum Group's Ford pickup was still going strong, but not for too long. Right around 11 a.m., the race was officially called. It's official, folks. The first DARPA Grand Challenge is over. The last vehicle stopped moving. Remember the one that nearly squished me the other day? About 1.5 miles that way, about 8 miles into the course. We're waiting to hear actually who got the farthest and what happened to stop all these vehicles, whether the power lines in the area messed up in the avionics or whether engines died, parts broke. We're going to have a little bit more about that later on. But right now, it's official. The race is over. Although not one robot made it to the finish line, DARPA felt the field test was far from a failure.
It's still a great idea. It's still a great day, and we're going to do it again. And sooner or later, somebody's going to do this.
Think about it. Sandstorm made it about 7.4 miles in its first ever attempt. The Wright brothers, their first flight was about 120 feet. Nobody does the impossible overnight.
That was fun. What would you point out?
You look tired. We had to drive like an hour to get to the Slash X Cafe, which is outside of Barstow. So it was like 3:30 in the morning when we got up. It was 4 when we got there. I'm just not,
Have you had your Dr. Peppers yet? I mean,
there's not enough Dr. Pepper in the world to make me look good at 4 in the morning. I can barely stay up till 4, waking up at 4.
That had to be exciting, though, once they got started and once they started rolling out the gate. I mean, you probably thought one of them was going to make it.
Well, it was funny watching the way that, watching some of the trials. You saw Wednesday where the wheels would stutter or they'd go like 20 feet and they'd stop. But, man, they hit the starting line, and Sandstorm, that red one that went the farthest from Carnegie Mellon, just took off, and you were like, wow, that's amazing. And then you kind of go, oh my God, there's nobody behind the wheel, somebody's going to get crushed, right? And right behind them goes the control vehicle with a guy sitting there with his hand over the stop button.
Yeah.
He let it run over the fence, so apparently they weren't too worried about fences, just people. But it's amazing, right? Team Red Sandstorm, they made it the farthest, 7.4 miles. Next up, Cytonics 2 was disabled at mile 6.7. They actually had an issue with their GPS. They lost track of like 9 satellites, or down to like 2 satellites. They drifted a little bit. They got caught on a berm. Team Digital Auto Drive, that was the green Toyota, and it's actually those are pretty cool guys. They're actually from Velodyne Subwoofers. They're the brothers that founded that company. They got hung up on a rock at mile 6.0 on a football-sized rock, and it's funny because like what we were hearing back in it's like any desert race. Basically, everything's going on far away from you, so you're relying on sort of second, third, ninth-hand words. So a lot of what people told us at Sandstorm had their engine had blown up or the transmission had disintegrated, but they got stuck hanging off the embankment. You saw the video with the wheel on fire. Finally, the Ford pickup truck with the 4th farthest, the Gollum group, disabled at mile 5.2. Their throttle control broke, which left them without enough juice to actually climb up the next hill. So there's 4 of the teams, a couple of the simplest and a couple of the most complicated teams went the farthest, and they're all coming back for the next one.
I was going to say, they're doing it again next year, right?
Yeah, well, it's either 2005 or 2006. This time it's going to be a $2 million prize to the winner. I suspect I would be shocked if somebody doesn't finish it the next time.
Nice. I also saw ATI sponsor one of the trucks. That's kind of cool.
ATI sponsored. They actually they donated a ton of graphics cards to the Carnegie Mellon group, which is why they had the big ATI logo and the big red Hummer. They were pretty stoked about that. A lot of industry support, and any of those teams would love to have your support for the next one. So keep an eye out for them.
All right.
Stuff.
Thanks, Ben. Stay where you are. Big or fast? What is the best hard drive solution? Find out with our next caller. And after the break, it's time to check the Screensavers robots. We've been building them all week long, right after these messages.
Checking with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
Hey there, Patrick Norton.
Hey there, Jessica Corbin.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, Avril Lavigne is making it very uncomplicated for her fans to get a chance to see her live. Yeah, what's happening here is that a bunch of flash mobs are showing up to see her in malls across the country in the United States.
So they're using text messaging to tell a whole bunch of people that Avril Lavigne is going to be somewhere, and they all descend on them like a pack of hungry Avril Lavigne hunting vultures.
You got it, P. I mean, it's pretty cool what they're
wild.
doing. It's totally wild. So, yeah, that's coming up right after the Screensavers tonight.
Very cool. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Just imagine like millions of teeny boppers waiting for the message on their phone to go to the mall. That's what's coming up on Tech Live right after this show. Good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. All week long, we've been hammering and watching how much hammering. Cursing, yes. Soldering, screwing, piecing things together, losing pieces, the collective parts of 5 do-it-yourself robot kits. Right now is the moment of truth. Success or failure? It'll start with me. I have a lot of work to do this weekend. I have not started soldering, but I have actually managed to build my transmission. Quit laughing, because I know some of you guys aren't much farther than I am. The Octobot Survivor robot is actually pretty cool. When it's finished, it's going to look like little Bradbury here, the little gold robot. And what he actually does is he uses his little rolling feet underneath to move around the house and will actually hunt for its source of food, which is right back here. You plug it into a wall, set it up properly, and it'll basically hunt around until it finds the light emitted from this, and it will back itself on and recharge itself, and then it'll go off and bother the cat and scare it around the house for the rest of the day. Kevin's robot.
Yes, this is the Cybug 1, and it has sensors in the front. It looks for light. It has peeps for wheels.
Oh, whatever!
And
you so stole my idea.
I did not.
What a jerk!
I did not.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's just take these off for now. Let's seriously get it running. If I flip it over here, we have
roaches.
A little battery, and I just plug that in, and it tries to go after the light source, and then it's actually going to move around here, and if it bumps into something, it will automatically back up because I have little sensors. Don't hit my robot. Don't touch. And yeah, see, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's nice and easy to build. Thank you.
Yeah, a couple people. Look at that. Yeah.
You know what? Until like 2 seconds ago, Kevin did not have peeps until he saw my robot, Bug Brain 3.0.2, which has 6 little legs. And what I decided to do was, I'm going to have to be honest. Kevin was honest. He did not build that. That was the original. I'm going to be honest and say I did not rebuild my robot. I just modded my robot. I modded my robot with some really cute shoes because,
like
as you know, like in real life, it's more important to look good than to feel good, and that applies to robots too.
Somebody
so you can
wants
see
to be
him just,
Yoshi.
Yeah.
Doing all the mods.
Hey, whatever. And so you can just see as I
Yoshi's like the Peeps PC. I see it.
there it goes. There it goes.
Okay, the peeps have ruined it. There we go.
Well, this obviously requires a little bit more modification, but I think this is just, oh, he's so cute.
Dan,
Anyway,
what
Bug
do you got
Brain
up there?
rules, best one ever. Dan?
Well,
Follow that.
I have 2 robots, mind you. I have this is the Trekker sumo wrestler.
Oh.
And then underneath down there is it's the Trekker line follower. Basically, there's 4 sensors.
Down
and
where? Oh,
that's cool. Right down there.
Nice.
Hey, let me go down there actually.
Okay.
So here it goes.
Hit it, Foo.
Go.
Yeah, Dave. Good job.
Yay!
There we go.
It works.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that. It just goes around and she's going to go pick up her boyfriend right there, Mr. Potato Head. Look at that. It's pretty cute, huh?
Nice.
Not bad. And just basically how it works, it just it needs black and white. Black is non-reflective, obviously white is, and just follows the line. And the 2 outside ones stabilize it. The
He
2
left
inside
her.
ones.
He didn't pick her up.
Oh well, you know.
Just like real life.
He's a player.
Actually, he said she was going to pick up her boyfriend. So
Yes.
she abandoned her boyfriend, just like
Her
real
boyfriend
life.
has some nice
Just like
lipstick
real
then.
life.
So Dan, where's the kit you were putting together, though?
This is it right here.
So let's see
It's on my desk in my cube.
Okay, I had the Hexapod 2, and this is actually the Hexapod 2 Extreme because it actually has a few different controls. But this is the one I built
I don't like this
right
one.
here.
It looks like a
This
spider.
thinks it looks like a spider. Let's put these down on the ground and
These
see how
are
they actually
cool.
I really
work.
don't like that.
And mine are actually controlled with a PlayStation 2 remote controller. So they just walk around, and you can have one doing that, one going over here, and they're pretty fun. You can program them to their basic steps. You can program them to do all kinds of other things, mount cameras to them, mount grabbing arms to it. I really built mine.
Show off.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's an immense amount of respect for people who can actually solder here at the Screensavers and finish projects in their free time. And we didn't even get into coding.
Go Yoshi.
I'm trying to knock your guy off the
I was
line.
going to say, Yoshi Spider's about to eat Mr. Potato Head.
No!
You can find all the details about all of our robots at thescreensavers.com. That was the most disgusting thing I've seen on television in a long time, or at least in a television studio. Now Leo joins us to share a fine tip with you.
I got two tips in one. This is a tip that applies to Mac OS X and any form of Unix, including Linux. It's the cron command. Cron is a standard GNU command that occurs in almost all versions of Linux that's used to run programs on a schedule. Very handy for automated backups or system maintenance tasks, anything you need to do on a regular basis. Now, you've got cron if you have OS X. Just open the terminal, get to the command line. If you want to see what the standard cron commands are, just type cat/etc cron tab. Cron tab is a text file that contains the cron commands. The commands are down here, the ones starting with the numbers. These, in fact, run every single day. The little entries here tell you what time, how many days a week, how often to run. The root is who owns the command, and then on the right is the actual command itself. You can create your own cron tab specific to you as a user by simply typing cron tab/e. That says edit my personal cron tab. It'll launch your default editor. In most cases, that's Vi. We're in Vi right now. In fact, we have a blank cron tab. We can put our own commands in here. Now, the syntax is a little tricky, so what I'm going to do is send you to the web page where I have it all listed, thescreensavers.com. Or don't forget the handy man command. Man cron will tell you all about the cron command, and man cron tab will tell you about the cron tab format. And if you want an even better cron, try Anacron, which is a very handy cron tab that runs even when you don't keep your system running all the time. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Leo. Coming up after the break, the $64,000 question: do you choose a bigger capacity drive or a faster hard drive? Find out after these messages. Linksys router into a Linux intrusion detection system. Kevin's going to show you how, plus why buy expensive overpriced software. I'm going to show you the latest free software. Equip your machine for nothing. Plus, learn how to join a flash mob and build a supercomputer on the fly. It's all coming up on Monday's show.
That's going to probably be one of my best dart tips ever. The Linksys router into a Linux intrusion detection system.
That's pretty wild. So you basically took a Linksys router and you put Linux in it.
Well, we'll talk about that on Monday. It's a hack to get into it actually runs embedded Linux.
Right.
And it's a hack to get around that whole interface and turn it into an actual Linux box.
Scary
it's
stuff. Cool. Monday, kids.
Monday.
Don't miss it. Perk joins us on the phone from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hey, Perk.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Good. Well, I got to say, the audience we were running, coffee, nickname, family name, Perk. It's cool.
It's a nickname, and, I think it's because I'm so perky.
I like it.
Ha-ha.
It's all coming together for me now. How can we help you today, Perk?
Yes.
Well, the teasers pretty much had my question in line. I've got a Apple PowerBook. It's the G3 model, not the G4, the G3. I'm getting ready to upgrade my hard drive. And for about the same money, I can get an 80 gig 5400 RPM or a 60 gig 7200 RPM. And my question is, on my particular machine, is it worth going for the faster drive, or is that sort of overkill? Should I go for the higher capacity because we all want more storage, or what should I do?
Well, a few years ago, it would be like, get the 7200 RPM drive. I mean, they didn't really exist for notebooks.
I didn't even know they had 7200 RPM drives out for notebooks now.
I don't even think I've seen one.
I haven't seen one yet either.
I've not physically seen one.
Yeah, I haven't seen one yet either.
Where did you find that, Perk?
They are out. I don't have the link directly in front of me, but the place I'm going to be purchasing is through Club Mac, which I already talked to them, and they have it available for my PowerBook. So.
Cool. Because usually, like most of the ones we've seen up there would be, I'm like pulling up Club Mac right now, would be 5400 RPM versus 4200 RPM. Right. The basic idea, almost invariably, the faster the spindle speed, that's the rotating speed of the media inside the drive, the faster it can move data off the drive into your memory, and then your operating system can use it and put the information from you. If you're editing video, if you're working with huge graphics files, or working with huge audio files, then go with the faster hard drives and natural. Now, a couple years ago, when hard drives started to get really huge, 120 gigabytes, 170 gigabytes, stuff like that, what they noticed is the areal density, which is basically how many bits are packed in that little tiny circle that makes up the disk in your hard drive. As the areal density hits the roof, sometimes a 5400 RPM hard drive can actually be faster than a 7200 RPM hard drive, right? Which was something that seemed nuts until we started looking at benchmarks. We're like, wow, the bits are so closely spaced together, you end up whipping more of them underneath the head at 5400 RPM because they're just the information is so tightly packed. What I want to tell you, Perk, is the best case scenario is that you find somebody who's benchmarked them and tested them and can tell you. That's the best way to find out which one to buy. After that, I'd say, look, do you need all that hard drive space, or are you working with huge files? If you're editing video, I'd say, you know what, it would be nice to have the faster hard drive, but I'd probably want more storage locally. And you've got to balance out which one seems like the better idea for you.
Is it going to take any type of performance hit as far as battery goes when it goes up to the 7200 RPM?
That's another great question.
Yeah.
And the only way to do is to look at the specs of the drive and try to guesstimate between the specs of the drive that's in your system now versus the specs of the milliwatt drives. I'm going to say it's probably not going to change that much. It might. It's a good thing to check.
Yeah.
Good luck, Perk.
Thanks, Perk. Now let's check in with Dan for a helpful tip.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. If you're a road warrior, power and battery are your biggest concerns with your laptop. So let me show you some options that you have. From the control panel, go into Power Options, and then click on the Power Schemes tab. Now in here you have a bunch of different options for home, portable, presentation, all of that. You can turn off your monitor, you can choose the times, turn off your hard disk, all of that. You have tons of little options that you can choose to optimize your battery and your power. But stay where you are, because coming up, the final emails in our final chat session when the Screensavers comes back.
See the show in person. If you're going to be in the San Francisco Bay Area and you'd like to join the Screensavers live on the set, go to www.techtv.com/ticketline for information and to request tickets. Go there so we can see you here.
So I I was around the back during the break, and I found this. This is Dan's robot. Yes.
Well, the robot's right here, guys. Right here.
No, that is not the robot. That's the one that came completed.
Oh.
This is Dan's kit. So, yeah. Oh.
I'm surprised at you.
Shocked.
I am shocked and appalled. You guys ready for emails?
We are indeed.
All right. Moving right along. Mike wants to know. He's got an ethical question. Would it be possible for hackers to strive for a more noble cause and hack spammers? It would most assuredly give a place in heaven for a hacker that would do something like that.
No, we
Take
would
out
never.
spammers, be a white hat.
You know, we were obviously against the RIAA hacking people eventually, and we're against hackers going out and hacking innocent people. But our spammers are really innocent.
I say go for it.
Well, we could never.
No,
we could never tell hackers they should go after spammers, but we wouldn't necessarily frown upon it if we heard about it. We might even buy you a meal.
That's right.
But we'd never admit that on television.
Next question.
Okay. This guy's name is Clayton Montgomery. Is that like from All My Children or what? Okay. I recently installed high-speed internet access on my home computer. I'm running Windows 2000. I'm also running Red Hat 9. My question is, how can I connect my Linux system to my high-speed internet?
Oh, this is like a classic question we get when somebody gets high-speed internet and they're like, can I connect my Mac to the internet, or can I connect my Linux system, BSD system, my old Windows 3.1, because their ISP goes, well, we don't support that. And the truth is the whole idea of the internet is to make it accessible to any platform, right? The whole point is you give people an IP address. They can do a couple ways of doing that. You can create an internet gateway on one of your desktop systems that's directly connected to your cable modem or your DSL modem, or you can plug a Linksys router into it. What that does is it'll assign IP addresses to all the other systems on your network, and the IP address is what you need, what basically the Linux box needs to see your internet connection. So the answer is yeah. Basically create a router, build one, attach one, create one of the internet sharing profile in
Then
Windows.
just set it to use DHCP and it gets an IP address and it's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy as that.
It's a good thing. That's it for this edition of the Screensavers.
I'm Kevin Rose.
So it's okay.
Jump online.
I'm Patrick Norton. Thanks for joining us. We'd like to thank our guests, Gordon Sheldon. Good stuff, man. We'll see you next time, folks. Have a great night.